going on? Welcome back to the channel. This is the second video on this channel. I wanted to give a disclaimer before we get into this video because I'm sure that I made the title something to the effect of backtesting with a 100% win rate. I do not have a 100% win rate strategy. I just happened to have a 100% win rate during this backtesting session. I didn't do anything different than I normally do when I trade, but just the variance and the small sample size that I used for kind of walking through my strategy in this video happened to result in a 100% win rate. I'll talk about this a lot in the video. I'm not trying to clickbait you, but I mean, I had 100% win rate backtesting, so I'm going to use that in the title. But again, with that being said, I'm going to let past me take it from here. And if you enjoyed the video, please like and sub for the algorithm. Free Discord on the way, free course on the way. Future or past me will see you in about 0.5 seconds. Great news. We found a webcam, which is pretty exciting stuff. So we have a better intro than last video, which is pretty exciting. But I want to make a video as far as kind of just like what my strategy is. I read the comments on my first video that I posted, which did a lot better than I thought it would. We got like a couple comments, a couple views. This is pretty sick. So I wanted to make a backtesting video where I talk a little bit more about my strategy. I'm not going to go super in-depth. I am planning on making a free-to-join Discord and all that stuff because I got a lot of really good responses in the first video, so thank you for that. But I wanted to make a video backtesting so I can just kind of introduce you guys to my strategy, which is a winning strategy, which is really cool because I've been trading for about 4 years on and off, and I just came across my first winning strategy that I've, I don't want to say I developed it because I've taken a lot of different things from a lot of different people to make an entry model that I really like. But we're going to do some back testing today, and I'm also going to try to dive a bit deeper into the elements of my strategy. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to create a checklist on FX Replay as far as what are the keys for me for an A+ setup. So the first thing that we're going to go over is daily bias. A lot of days my bias can be neutral, where, do I think I'm going to try to go long or go short? Am I going to try to find long setups or short setups? So I'm going to go over that. And then the next thing that I want to look for is a clear draw. I'm just going to abbreviate this as draw on liquidity. That's literally what that stands for. DOL is draw on liquidity. And if you don't know what liquidity is, put simply, it's where price wants to go. I'm not going to really dive deep into liquidity because I plan on adding that into a series for a free course I'll put on YouTube for those of you that want to learn my strategy. But that's the next thing I look for is a clear draw on liquidity. So when we have a daily bias and a clear draw on liquidity, then what I'm looking for is a liquidity sweep, which means that we tap into one of those points that price wants to go to. Then I look for a couple different things. I look for a fair value gap, higher time frame. So higher time frame, fair value gap. Then I look for 1 minute CISD and 1 minute IFVG. This is my strategy. This is what I take essentially all my disciplined trades on. Sometimes I deviate from this. We're going to rename this because I already have different ones. You see I have good price action here. That's just kind of null and void because it's kind of a given. But we'll just call this one setup for life. So now we'll go into the session I've already created for us. This is going over all of, where the hell is price? 221. Oh, we're way up. Yeah, I forgot we hit all-time highs. So I actually don't really trade on my computer often. I take most of my trades on my phone just because it's how I learned how to trade. I'm dabbling with trading on my computer now, which I actually like a little bit more because there's a little bit more I can see. Here, we're looking at NASDAQ, which is what I trade, and we have the 15-minute right here. We have the 1 minute right here. On this, I'll cycle through between 15-minute. I'll look at the 5-minute. I'll look at the 4-hour, and sometimes look at the daily, but that's basically it. I keep this on the 1 minute because this is where I find my entries. So let's go to market open. Okay, so it's 9 o'clock. I can't trade until 8:30 anyways because of Top Step and how they work. But let's take a look. We're on the 4-hour here. I want to talk about finding my bias. Finding bias for me is really easy. I essentially just look at, are we on an uptrend or are we on a downtrend? We are downtrending. We had this really big imbalance right here. This is a fair value gap. If you're not familiar with the fair value gap, again, I'm not going to dive super deep into it because I plan on making videos on those topics. But essentially, the fair value gap is this wick, really big body, and then this wick. There's not always fair value gaps. Like there's no fair value gaps anywhere here, but there's there's one right here. But yeah, so we have this really big fair value gap that we tapped into, and then we're receding out of. So the fact that we tapped into this fair value gap and then we're trending down, this to me looks like we're going short today. And that's my bias, is what I use the 4 hour for. It's really simple. It just, am I looking for longs or am I looking for shorts? Another thing that confirms my bias is that we did sweep these equal highs almost. So we might go up a little bit higher because I think we just closed this candle. We made relative equal highs, which again, that's a sweep on liquidity. That means that up here, there was a lot of resting sell stops. So price drove up here, took out this liquidity, and now is going to probably go further down. Again, we can't predict that with 100% certainty, just like the weather, but I have a pretty good win rate with this strategy. I'll actually show that really quick. The last backtesting session that I did. Yep, here we go. Last session we did was a 78% win rate, 10K PNL, 1-2 risk reward. So that's not typical. I'd say I average between 60, 65, maybe even like as low as 58, 59. But again, this gives me a good bias for the day. So now we'll drop down to the 15-minute, see what we have. Really big move up. So yeah, I'm immediately looking for shorts. I'm not rushing into anything, but this is a really big imbalance. And then on the 5-minute, we create this fair value gap here that we tap into. Interesting. Okay, so let's keep looking here. Again, we wick again. Oh, it's double check for news. It's a good thing to know. This is Friday, and there is 9 a.m. news. So we're actually, is this red folder? This is red folder news. So I'd actually wait to trade. If I was gonna trade today, I would wait a little bit longer because price action is gonna be pretty crazy. So let's go like an hour later. We're consolidating now. This is where I'll start looking for trades. Let's go to the 15-minute. Again, that's just a rule of thumb. Never trade red folder news days. Generally, I break that rule pretty often because, I'm not perfect yet. What time is it? 10 o'clock. That's 2 hours after news. So now we're consolidating a little bit. 15-minute. Let's kind of click forward here, see what we get. We take out this high right here. And we also we respect this right here, I'd say. So we sweep this liquidity, and then we inverse this 1-minute fair value gap. This isn't a perfect setup, but I think I would go take a short here just because the price action on this was pretty good. Let's actually just look at, we have a lot of resting liquidity here. Okay. So let's just walk through this, right? Let me show you kind of my mindset. I'd risk 1% because I risk 1 to 2% every trade because I have a 3K drawdown daily. So sometimes I will risk my full daily drawdown if I have a lot of conviction in the trade. So let's look at our one setup for life. We're going short. That's in line with our daily bias. Again, because we thought we'd see a tap into that higher time frame PD array, which we do. Do we have a clear draw on liquidity? Yes, we do. We have a lot of resting liquidity in this order. So I'd say yes. Did we sweep liquidity? Yep, we swept these highs right here. Are we inside of a higher time frame fair value gap? Yeah, we are in a 5-minute fair value gap. If you guys remember, on this side, there was a 5-minute fair value gap that we had just tapped into. Now, the only thing that we don't have quite yet is the 1-minute CISD. The CISD would happen if we closed underneath this candle here. If you don't know what a CISD is, it's a change in state of delivery. Essentially, it's just a really strong precursor that price is going to want to move down. So when you look at an up move, that sweeps liquidity. So we have liquidity resting here. Let me pull out my brush. We have liquidity resting right here at this high in our range. Right here, this is our range. We have resting highs that we take out. So we swept liquidity. And the previous move down before the move up is, right? So if we have a move down here before we take out, this liquidity here, when we see a candle close underneath this low, that would be the CISD. So that's the only thing that we don't have on this trade. But again, I'm still pretty confident in this trade. I'm not going to rate my confidence every trade, you know, but I'd say, you know, 60%. I'm like, yeah, this is probably going to hit. Let's see. Maybe it doesn't. Maybe we just immediately hit our stop loss, but this is why we backtest. So we take out this liquidity here. Where are we at? We didn't. So this is one of the things about backtesting. When we hit this level here, after we took out this high, I would have taken partials and moved my stop loss to break even. But at this level here, I don't want to take partial. I mean, it's close to 1-to-1. Sure, I'll take partials here. No, I won't. We'll let it run out. Again, it's a little bit different than when it's in real time because I might not let this run out all the way down to this resting low. But yeah, let's just run it. Okay, now at this level, I would take partials, move stop loss to break even. We keep pushing. Now we are inversing. Yep, okay, we ended up breaking even. So we made $500 on that trade, regardless. So again, that wasn't a super high RR, but the strategy was right. So that would probably be my only trade for the day. But let's see if we do end up getting anything else that we can enter on. Let's go into the 5-minute. Yeah, we didn't have a CISD. We did have a CISD on the 5-minute, though. No, because we didn't sweep liquidity. We just tapped into a fair value gap. Okay. So now we're pushing higher still, which is against my bias. But this also could just be us sweeping market open highs. Another thing that I would have done that I didn't do just because I'm not thinking properly on video, I would have marked out the London session highs and lows. But that also doesn't really matter because of the news day that we had today. But on the 5-minute, we are breaking over these highs. Get a doji. Yeah, and at this point, I think I would just call it a done go. I would call it done for the day. So now I'll go to the next day of trading. We are 1 for 1 on the session. I'm not exactly sure how many trades I'm going to take, but let's go to the next day. Yeah. Dude, I'm going to blow a fucking gasket. So we're in the next day here, and I put in something here that I forgot to put in on the previous day. Again, these are things that I look for mostly every day. I don't live and die by this, but it is just another confluence, which if you don't know what confluence means, so it's several things together that influence an outcome is what a confluence is, to get nerdy with my vernacular on you. I don't live and die by this, but these are the London session and Asia session key price points, which is going to be the lows and the highs. So these are things I like to look at because I want to see how price reacts to these on the different time frames. But now we're at 9 o'clock. Again, I can trade at 8:30, but most of my trades come a couple minutes after market open. So let's kind of just click through here and see what we get. So we just created this 15-minute imbalance, which I think this will be pretty important because I imagine we're going to take out these highs and then see price go lower. But let's check our 4-hour really quick. Let's see what our bias is for the day. Again, I'm kind of going out of order because the video has me tweaking. And this is really big too. So we have this 4-hour imbalance that we're tapping into. And combined with this 15-minute fair value gap, this is looking like a lot of confluence. With these fair value gaps, I just like to see how price reacts to these because we may end up seeing price push through this, or we could just be sweeping liquidity inside this fair value gap. Again, just because one of these confluences takes place doesn't mean that I know exactly what price wants to do. It's the different confluences combined that make my strategy. So it's just food for thought. We are currently inside of a 4-hour or a higher time frame fair value gap. So let's drop back down to the 15-minute and let's just see what we find. Again, double check news. No news today. Great day to trade. Let's see what we do. We consolidate, tap into this 15-minute bullish fair value gap. And now we just took out these Asia session high, or excuse me, London session highs. All right. So again, let's just kind of keep cruising. I don't really see an entry here. Consolidating. I still don't see an entry. I'm not taking a trade on any of this. But again, I think price wants to move lower here. The 15-minute, we see that we sweep these highs, and we are respecting this 4-hour fair value gap. Again, if we zoom out here, right, we are still inside of this 4-hour fair value gap. which again, it looks like we are respecting that we're not breaking out of, which again is just extra confluence that we do want to see price go lower. So yeah, we're just kind of at this point, we're looking for the final part of the puzzle, which is a CISD or an IFVG on the 1 minute, if not both. I don't love this. I wouldn't enter on that. Again, that works, but this CISD isn't super clear, so I'm not super fond of it because there wasn't really any liquidity being swept. And worst case, we don't find an entry before we tap into it, because there's also a chance that price will reject this fair value gap here on the 15-minute. But seeing how we treated this 4 hour, my intuition says that, well, if we respected this 4 hour imbalance, we're going to probably disrespect the 15-minute because these are kind of counter opposing. This one here is bearish. The 4 hour is a bearish fair value gap, and the 15-minute is a bullish fair value gap. So if we respected the bearish fair value gap, we're probably disrespecting the 15-minute bearish fair value gap, or excuse me, bullish fair value gap. And we break this fair value gap here. Now, I think this is my entry for the day. This is during lunch hour, so this would have been a day where I had to spend a lot of time. But I like this setup, but we'll target the bottom of this 15-minute imbalance. And now let's go through the checklist. Confidence, I'm a little bit more than 50-50 on it. So it's in line with our daily bias. There's a clear draw on liquidity with this 15-minute imbalance. The only thing that, again, I don't love is like we didn't really sweep any liquidity on the 1 minute. Like if we had a really big displacement up into this 15-minute fair value gap, I'd like this trade a lot more. So there's no liquidity sweep, but we are inside of 2 higher time frame fair value gaps, and we have a 1 minute IFVG, and we're about to get a 1 minute CISD, but we can't check that off. So it's probably, realistically a 3-star trade. This might just immediately hit our stop loss. But let's see. Does not happen. So here, after this candle closes, I'm going to close half my position, move stop loss to break even. And then we wick it. So just like that. Again, it wasn't a perfect trade, but you can see that the strategy did work. And we're up $4,000 on the week just like that. And this is an accurate reflection of what my account looks like. The 150K Top Step account. Maybe that sounded really arrogant. If that did, I apologize. But that would be my one trade for the day. Let's go to the next day. So we're in the next day. For the sake of the video, not taking an hour to take 10 trades, I'm going to try to move a little bit quicker on this one. We're still inside of this same 4 hour imbalance. I'm not marking out session highs or session lows. Again, I don't think they're critical to my strategy. But we're at 9 o'clock here, and let's see what we have here on the 15 minutes. I'll also double check for news. It is Tuesday the 7th. We have 9 a.m. news. This is absolute. That's what I wanted to see, is news at 9 a.m. So let's see how price reacts to the news. Yeah, we're not trading that. Okay, so we have this 15-minute imbalance here, and then we also have a couple 1-minute imbalances, but they're not really that valuable on their own because it's a low time frame. So there is an imbalance here on the 5-minute that we just consolidated inside of. Maybe I spoke too soon. Again, it's different when you're back testing, but we did go into this imbalance here. We even tested this 1-minute imbalance here and proceeded lower. Interesting. We swept liquidity in here. This candle actually would have been really good to enter on. I completely missed this. I spoke a little bit too soon. There's a draw on liquidity to the south side. Yeah, this would have been a good 3R, but I spoke a little bit too soon, so I think I missed the entry on here. I would maybe re-enter if we tap into this 1-minute imbalance, which we do. We wick into this. This is not a perfect setup either. If we close below this candle here, that'd be a CISD, and I would take it. We actually inverse this 1-minute fair value gap, and then we inverse the 1 minute. So this actually works for a couple reasons. Yeah, let's take this one. This is actually a pretty good setup. This works because we did get a draw on liquidity, taking out this resting high inside of this 5-minute PD array, fair value, whatever you want to call it, right? It's just, it's a draw on liquidity. That was just like try not to use buzzwords challenge. But we did take out some liquidity resting here, and we immediately inverse this 1-minute fair value gap, which that's all I care about with the 1 minutes is if we don't inverse this fair value gap with one candle, I'm not even looking at it. So let's see if we have a 100% win rate through 3 trades. Screenshots, checklist. So it's in line with daily bias. We have a draw on liquidity. We swept liquidity. We're inside of a higher time frame fair value gap. We do not have a 1-minute CISD, but we do have an inverse here. Again, here I'm like 60% sure, which is pretty good. I have an edge. I'd give it a 4. So let's see how this plays out. We might immediately hit stop loss. Okay, so we're pretty respectful thus far. Right here, I would close partially because this is one of our draws on liquidity here. And the only liquidity we have resting now is at this 3R level. So here, I would probably in real time close 50% and then drop rest to break even. So let's see how this plays out. And I'd probably just close my position here because this consolidation makes me nervous. And just like that, we take another winning trade. Into the next day, my bias here is still probably bearish. But the 4 hour, this isn't as convincing as it's been in previous days. Because we have this 4 hour imbalance that we created during yesterday's session. So yesterday's session was kind of just a big drop off. So I'd maybe expect some retracement into this fair value gap here. So you just kind of want to see how price reacts to these fair value gaps. But generally, price is going to want to retest these bigger fair value gaps, especially on the higher time frames, because these are going to be a really big draw on liquidity. Let's see what we get on different time frames. Bearish imbalance here, FVG that we inversed. And then we have this 15-minute imbalance that we've been pretty respectful of. Let's see what happens upon where we're at now. We inverse this 1 minute, but we don't really care because the price action sucked through it. And now we immediately tap into this FVG right here. But we're being pretty respectful. We're not inversing right away. And then we just dump. But we're consolidating right now. Double check for news. Wednesday, no news outside of 7 a.m., but we're past that. And this kind of looks like manipulation here, which I'm not going to dive into PO3 stuff, but that looks like manipulation. We inverse that 1 minute, but price action's not great. Same deal there. Let's look at the 5 minute, because nothing is like super standoutish to me. I would probably take this. So we tap into this higher time frame FVG. We respect it while simultaneously inversing this 1 minute FVG. I don't think this is a bad trade. I'm pretty confident here. We sweep liquidity. We have clear draws on liquidity. I can set up some runners. Yeah, I'm a pretty big fan. I'd maybe set my stop loss up a little bit higher and take the 3-to-1. Yeah, I don't see a problem with this trade. I'll set my stop loss to be a little bit higher. I wanted it to be clean 3-to-1. I guess there's another draw on liquidity down here. But I don't know if price wants to go there. I really don't know. But we're consolidating underneath this range. We take out this liquidity resting here. And we inverse the 1 minute. So yeah, I'm going to take this. I don't know if I'm probably not letting the full take profit hit realistically, but I would set it up this way just in case for some reason we just have a Drake candle. If you don't know what a Drake candle is, Twitter's your friend. Daily bias. I'm going to say this isn't in line with our daily bias because I said I anticipated us to tap into this 4 hour fair value gap. So I'm going to say no. But there's a clear draw on liquidity. We swept liquidity. We're inside of a higher time frame FVG. And we actually also did make a CISD because we closed underneath this 1 minute candle before the move up to take liquidity out. We closed underneath that. And then we do have a 1 minute IFVG. Again, I'd say it's around the same level. I'm like a 60, but I'd almost give this a 5-star. If this was in line with our daily bias, it'd be a 5-star trade. But I'm never really higher than like 60% confident just because like you never know what's going to happen. We could just immediately bank our stop loss. So let's see. And look, that's going to happen this time. No, but we're being respectful. Now, I'm going to be completely honest. Seeing this price action, I would probably just close this position. Because this is not the price action that I like to see. This is real ugly. I might just move stop loss to break even because that's how I would treat this if this was a real trade, because this makes me want to throw up. This would be 20 minutes from me entering my trade, but we'll just move stop loss to break even. Realistically there, I'm probably closing the position as soon as we hit break even, but then I have to eat my fucking words. Oh, that's awesome. Okay, well, we'll take partials here. We'll take 25% and then just maybe 50. No, we'll take 25 and then just let it run. All right, we'll take another 25 here. And then we'll move stops. It's probably just the top of this FVG. We sweep some more liquidity. Maybe we close partially again. And then we'll move our stops. We immediately disrespected this 1 minute FVG, but let's see if there's anything that makes more sense here on the 5 minute. Let's just move stops above these highs. And then we'll just let this run. Oh, we almost bank it. That's cool. So, yeah, again, there's an argument to be made there that, you know, I should have just let my trade run out. But I am not opposed to taking partials and protecting my position. I've seen some people that are like, I don't know if I can say that word. You know that those group of people in Germany that had a really cool leader at one point? Those guys that looked really sharp. There's some people that are like that with trading. And they just think that, you know, oh, you shouldn't, you know, if you don't have confidence in your, why are you moving your stop loss? You don't have confidence to trade. Are you emotional? I just like to protect my positions. I'm pretty firm on that. So I still stand by what I said, that this is a toss up here, even though I'm not going to be like, oh, I knew this exactly was going to happen. This price action here, I realistically probably have a 50-50 chance of closing the trade and then smacking myself in the head when I see the price action. But again, here it's just, I think the strategy kind of speaks for itself. Not to sound arrogant, but in the next day here, we disrespected this imbalance here. I almost just looked at my calendar for what day it was. We're at Thursday right now. We completely disrespected this 1 hour or these 4 hour imbalances. And we also created this 4 hour imbalance here that I believe we saw that influenced yesterday's trade, that we did not tap back into. So, I don't know. I still imagine price might want to tap back into that fair value gap. So this is again another day where I don't have a super strong bias. I don't really. It gives me. We're in equilibrium essentially. Equilibrium is just like you kind of. Let's look at our range here from yesterday market open with our fib tracer. If we look at our range, I mean we're basically in the middle of our range. So price could literally go either direction. Price could decide it wants to retest this 4 hour imbalance, or price could decide that it wants to take out these lows. Like, you know, there's a lot of things that could happen. So this is a day where I would just wait to see what the market gives me. And realistically, it's Thursday. I've traded every day so far. This could be the day where I don't take a trade. But let's just kind of see again what price gives us. We have this imbalance here that we have been respectful of. So that makes me think on a higher time frame, we might want to go lower. Tapped into that. Let's look at the 5 minute. We inversed this 5 minute, but it took more than one candle, so I don't really care too much about that. 1 minute, do we have anything? Taking out these lows, I'm guessing. No. Inversed a fair value gap. Probably going to tap back into this FVG, I'd imagine. So price wants to go lower, it would look. But we just took out these lows here. So it looks like we're going lower. Make another 5 minute fair value gap. Oh, another thing. On these lower time frames, like 5 minute, 15 minute, 1 minute, I do not care about previous fair value gaps. Like, I don't care about this fair value gap right here, right? Because the range has already been filled. Like, this becomes irrelevant once price has ran through it. This fair value gap, I'd say like I don't care about this one because price ran through it. Now on the 5 minute, I'm looking at this fair value gap and I want to see how price treats this fair value gap. And I don't really see anything that stands out to me right away. There's definitely some confluence here. Two dojis. We tap into this fair value gap. If we close underneath this candle here, CISD liquidity sweep. I guess there is a draw on liquidity. Asia session lows. Yeah, looks like we're targeting those. So we're going to take this trade here. We're going to target these Asia session lows. Or that's London, excuse me. Daily bias, you know, again, I'm going to say no because I did not have a clear daily bias, but there's a draw on liquidity. We just swept liquidity inside of a higher time frame fair value gap. And we also have a 1 minute CISD. But yeah, let's see what we want to do. Okay, so I'm going to take partials because this is liquidity here. I'll take 50 is that a 1-to-1? If it's 1-to-1, it's basically 1-to-1. Yeah, I'll take 50. I'm not too good for a 1-to-1. And then we'll drop our stop to break even. And we end up banking it. Cool. So in review, we had a 100% win rate over 5 trades with 0 break-even trades. Our average RR was 1.7. And again, that is because we did drop our stop losses to break even quite often and took partials. But this is not a bad win rate. Again, those same group of people that try to say like taking partials and whatnot is bad. I would rework on your, what's the word? I'd look into your paradigms on what makes a winning strategy. The top earners on Top Step on average have a 40% win rate. But if you have a 40% win rate, you just have to have a higher RR. If you average a lower RR, you just have to have a higher win rate. So it's kind of, again, that's the great thing about trading is you can just find a strategy that works really well for you. So this is the style of trading that I like. Now, again, I don't have a 100% win rate. I'll be completely transparent. I don't think that shocks anybody. But, I would say like I average a 60% win rate with, 1.5 to 2 RR in general. And that is winning trading for me. I intend on getting a little bit of a higher win rate, a little bit of a higher RR. But yeah, I think this was a pretty effective video. If you have any questions, drop comments. I loved answering the comments last time. I'm still working on getting my Discord up and running. I want to make a free course on YouTube for you guys. And also I want to keep you posted on my Top Step journey. I want to start dabbling in, what I have going on with Top Step as I get closer to a payout. But yeah, if you enjoyed the video, like and sub for the algorithm, pretty please, because I need it. And I'll see you in the next video.